Hi, good morning, good evening for your time zone. I'm Kumkum Sharma from Eisen Bridge, and I'm your host for this live open session, episode 56. So, thank you very much, Saket, for joining me again for this session. And agenda is very simple. It's always driven by you, not by us. So, whatever question you have, whatever related to your career growth, right training, right certification, best certification, whatever questions you have, you can add your questions in the comment section. We are live on YouTube, we are live on LinkedIn. Just add your questions. I'll include your questions and Saket will answer your questions. So, Saket, before people are joining and they are asking questions from us, so how you would like to start this session today?
So few information I know today is IPL match, so I don't know how many people will turn up here. So we'll see if we really end up doing the session for long. Let's see how it goes. I am a little skeptical, so let's see. The another thing is I think we have been discussing these things for a while. It's more than a year now, around 1.5 year. Earlier we were doing every week, then we moved to every alternate week. Yeah, we'll see. So what I'm thinking is a little bit change in the structure. We probably reduce the frequency for these live sessions and replace it with the topics, yeah, rather than just open-ended open hours. So picking up some project management topic and talking about them probably every week. Yes, the topic will be driven by the PMP curriculum, but it is not limited to PMP curriculum. Yeah, it is something, everything is project management, but anyone can participate though, but we'll focus on picking up something, discussing it, and then we move forward. Yeah, so we have a question, so that's something we will plan. We will talk about it in detail today. uh, we'll continue open-ended as well as little focused sessions, some deviation we want to bring in. So how can we do a capacity planning in a sprint or say monthly? So say capacity and velocity sometimes used interchangeably. So you need to see what the people really want to talk. But in general, capacity is usually focused on how much productive hours, productive days you have available. And it is usually a function of number of team members multiplied by their productive time minus the vacations, hours, and other things. So I can say, I have a capacity of 100 days, so I have a capacity of 100 effort days. And in this 100 effort days, we are planning to do, say, 50 story points or 20 story points. That could be the way we focus on as a velocity. So how do I do a capacity planning? Basically, it focuses on my capacity, how many team members I have, what amount of days they have, multiplied by their vacation, removed minus their vacations and the holidays or a planned leaves, and then I come up with the number. Why I need to do it? Especially if I'm doing little long-term planning. So say 3 months planning or 2 months planning. In the safe word, we do like planning interval planning, PI. So we need to do some amount of forecast that, okay, what all we can do. And that is something leads to doing these kind of calculation. These things are not very perfectly planned. There will be some amount of deviation because things keeps changing as we go along, but we need to do something to forecast. Okay, so what are the different traits of a Scrum Master? We do have a blog talking about it in detail. So we talk about the roles and responsibilities of Scrum Masters, and I also talk about what kind of competencies and skills the Scrum Master should have. But in general, what we need to focus on is don't attach too much with a word like a Scrum Master, Project Manager, Product Owner, something like this. We are focusing on what should a one have to to facilitate, lead, and make a collaborative work environment in the team. So in general, it's a leadership capacity. So every leader, whatever you call the guy, scrum master, product owner, or a project manager, is expected to create leaders, expected to develop people, expected to facilitate various conversation, expected to create an environment which is constructive in nature, so people are really willing to work. And in general, for all these leadership styles nowadays, we are talking about emotional intelligence, the ability to influence people with the help of emotional intelligence, and all these things are are great. Yeah, so that's the generic thing. We can say, yeah, we need to have a good emotional intelligence to start with. Now, if you label the Scrum Master on top of it, then we can say there are some additional things which are expected, like you should know the Scrum knowledge, so expertise in Scrum. So you should be demonstrating deep understanding, ability to coach people, ability to mentor them, driven by emotional intelligence, and ability to facilitate various conversation, ability to listen, primarily driven by emotional intelligence. All those kind of things are good things. So I do recommend check our blog on Scrum Master roles and responsibility and competencies. Again, your Scrum Master or your organization Scrum Master may vary, but you can get some idea from these things. Yeah. Okay, what is the meaning by out of the box or the custom designed? Uh, custom designed. Okay, a lot of question coming. I need to focus on custom design project implementation. What are all prerequisite need to be followed in such cases? So you need to see in which context these things are used. So from your words, what I'm saying is out of the box. Sometimes people call it out of the box thinking, which means that you need to go beyond the boundaries. But what I'm reading from your statement is we pick up something and we implement it as it is, out of the box implementation. So it's like this, that I have a product and I want to implement that product in a given organization. Out of the box implementation means that whatever features are there, we will just implement them. So that becomes out of the box. Now, custom design, it means that you have a specific need and expectation and requirement. We understand your needs, expectation, and requirement, and we create a product for you. Yeah, that becomes a custom design product. Now, you need to understand that when you have a ready-made product, like if I want to buy an accounting system, it might be a stupidity to create a custom design. If I want to have a CRM, customer relationship management system, similarly, it will be stupidity to do that. But if I have my specialized application which helps me in running my business model, then I need to have a custom design because there is no out of the box application available. Okay, so what is the number defining the story point in hours, days, or anything else? We have 4 videos explaining it because it takes time. Yeah, it can't be explained that quickly. So we need to understand what is story points, what is a relative estimation, why we use non-linear series, and what is the relationship between story point versus the effort which you put in. So in a simple word, the story point numbers rank the available items into a complexity or into the size category. Like sometimes people talk about t-shirt sizing or something. So I know the 2 is bigger than 1. I know 3 is bigger than 2. That's it. If that get communicated, if that consistently agreed between the team, that's the intent of the story point. So we know 1 is very small, 13 is very big. 8 is smaller than 13, but it's still big. That's it. That's what it communicates. Now somebody will say, okay, but what do I do with it? Yes, it gives you some projection, how much time this thing will take to do it, some projection in some range, but not an absolute range. So you may say that usually the 2 pointers in our organization, in my team nowadays, takes 2 to 3 days. Yeah, so it will be driven by that. But in general, how much time or how much hours will go for a given pointer depends upon who is doing it, what kind of problem we faced, how well the thing was understood. All those things will drive the actual effort or the estimated effort you have for a given work. So a brief answer is this. For a long answer, I do recommend check our 4 blogs on 4 videos on StoryPoint. We do have a video explaining agile estimation, and it takes the reference from all the 4 blogs. So if you go eisenbridge.com/blogs, you can find the agile estimation detail as well. We'll post the link in the comments as well. Okay. So how to implement a machine learning project out of scope? At least for me, I'm not at all expert in that area. So no comment. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, what level of testing should be done by a project manager before releasing the build to the client, especially when there is no formal QA process in your some instance? Maybe a lot, maybe a 0. Depends. So in project management, we call this decision-making process, cost of quality. So I need to understand what is the cost of conformance, testing, reviews, building quality, unit testing. This is a cost of conformance. And what is a cost of non-conformance? What will go wrong if the defect goes out? Maybe internally or externally, whenever the defect comes, what will be the cost? If the defects are very costly, then you need to have a very stringent verification process. You need to ensure that there is no defect, because it just creates a lot of rework and collapse for us. But if I am testing something, I just want to test the market, even there are hardly any user for my product, and if there is a defect, I let it go. Yeah, because I'm just testing how the market is responding to this idea. We will have a new version which will take care of remaining things. So and this is a unique for each project. You can't have a universal guidelines. So depending upon the cost of non-conformance, which means the cost of internal and external failure, if they are high, I need to make sure things are going good. So say if I make something and if there is a problem in it, the whole thing gets scrapped and company loses money. I need to ensure it get well tested. So I need to come up with my quality plan. That's a project management term we use. It doesn't mean that it has to be documented, but we need to have an agreement on what is our quality expectation, at what level we meet our customer expectation. In the agile world, it might get converted into your definition of done. So you need to define your definition of done, which includes these aspects. In our predictive project management place, we call it, we need to do a quality management plan, and we need to plan all these things. Okay, so if the team is going from waterfall to agile, team is fully new to agile, what will be your approach to make your team agile? So in general, that's the whole transformation thing. It's if you learn and Google about how do you transform from A to B, there are a lot of models, there are a lot of recommendations, a lot of case study about it. So in general, you need to study those models. They will give you idea. Then you need to study your team, your own requirement, and come up with the customized plan. So it has to be custom made. It will be difficult out of the box. Yeah, someone made that point before. So we need to find out the right balance between these two. Now, what kind of models will be good? So people use ADKAR as a reference. So people should know, like team members should know why we are changing. They should have you should create a good communication so they have a desire to support the change. So when they know why they are changing, when they have a desire to support the change, then you need to enable them by way of training, mentoring, and coaching so that they can adapt to it. So it's like this. If people want to do it, I will organize training for them. They need to know how it works. When they know how it works, I need to create some experimental environment for them. So for example, I'm a business analyst. I used to write use cases, and you are saying, tomorrow onwards, we will work in a small incremental requirement. And possibly the use cases will not help us in creating small incremental requirement. We need to go for user stories. Okay, I train you on the user story. Great. Do I want to go there? If I have a resistance, then I need to take care of that. So I need to communicate why we are moving from use case to user story, what are the reasons, and what you will get by learning how to work with user story as an individual. So once that thing is taken care, the person will say, okay, now I want to learn how to work with the user story. Okay, so we train the guy. Maybe you put him in a CSPO training or something. Now person knows how to work with the user story, but when the person starts writing or thinking about user story, he finds it difficult to create small. Many times we struggle to have a small requirement which can fit into a sprint. That time you need a support. You need a mentoring, someone who can work along with me, help me in doing it. So you need to have a desire. Yeah, you need to educate, and then you have to provide support and take care of their problem, do a retrospective support, and then some amount of reinforcement mechanism. So it should not happen after doing for a 1 month, we go back to our old habits. So some mechanism of putting the tool in place, Jira in place, where everything is done in the user story format, where whole the sprint planning is done in the user story format. So the whole thing starts rotating around that, and that helps us in getting things moving. Yeah. So, but we should be vigilant that these are very generic ideas. You need to get specific, and little bit of deviation might be needed for each individuals also. And they should know why they are doing something, and they should be onboarded first before you tell them anything. So how the number relates to the days and hours. So as I said, the block will give you more detail, but in general, it's a historical data. So say, what is hours? Whose hours? Your hours or my hours? The number doesn't know who will work on it. So when you say, how does it relate? So it may relate to both of us. You may take 2 hours for 2-pointer and 3 hours for 3-pointer on average. I may take 4 hours for 2-pointer and say 6, 7, 8 hours for 3-pointers. So we are saying whoever is working on it, they will take more time for a bigger number, less time for a smaller number. And with the help of our historical data, we will know on average it takes this much, and individuals may vary from one point to another point. If you want to know hours rather than a point, then why don't you do it in hours only? Don't do story point estimation, but for that also identify who is going to work on it, because hours in efforts are always attached to a person. Different people will take different time, and that's the problem we are trying to resolve with the help of story points. We are saying, let's keep it first the work, quantification of work, and the second is identification of real effort it takes. There will be a correlationship. The correlationship may vary from different people or a different point in time of your work requirement. Yeah, but I do recommend to check the blog. It has around 40 minutes conversation on the same topic. Here I'm trying to explain in 4 minutes, but there will be a 40 minutes conversation explaining the whole story point stuff. And it's a little confusing. That's why we end up spending that much time in those particular videos. Yeah, so there is you go to Google Eisenbridge Agile Estimation. You just type these 3 words on the Google, you will get it, the blog for you. So how important is product refinement and what are the benefits? So I would say, I think the user might be asking how important is product backlog refinement. Yeah. Or if you are talking about product refinement, it could be refactoring the whole product based on the user needs. But if I understand you are focusing on backlog refinement, then that's the tool we use in order to identify what people need in our product, and we are evolving based on our previous experience, and only by doing that we can identify a work. Yeah. So if you have a new member and he's confused about estimation of number, how do we convince the new member? Just ask him, yeah, what is the easiest thing it has? The easiest thing is one, and related to that, learn the next. If you tell him, if you take 2 hours for a 2-pointer, then another person thinks I will take half an hour for the 2-pointer, then there is a big confusion. See, you have a new member, and I think this work is going to take 2 hours for me. You are an old guy, you say this work takes half an hour for me. Now we can't have a story point half or two. Both of us are thinking differently. So what we need to make it, whatever work you have done before, whatever you understand from story A against story B, are you going to take more or you are going to take less? That's it. And that's the conversation in the estimation should happen. The whole purpose is we are ranking the work on the complexity and effort level relatively, not absolutely. So story point 2 doesn't give any information. But story point 2 with the story point 1 tells me that 2 is bigger than 1. Yeah. Just 2 doesn't give me anything. So it is relative. Absolute estimation would be 2 days. And I don't have to look anything else. I know this work is a 2 days work. That's an absolute estimation. Relative estimation, the word tells that it is only relevant in the relative comparison. It makes no sense if we don't have a relativeness. So whenever we are trying to teach anyone, we need to teach relativeness rather than absoluteness. If we tell, if 2 hours work is equal to this, the person will get confused and there will be more conflict in the team. Yeah. Okay. So that's the initial info. Okay, so we wait for a while. I see, and then see if we have a query, else we move forward. Okay, so a lot of ideas coming here. Story points. I can, in the meantime, I can share the blog of the story points. Maybe, yeah, people are still coming in, so I can say. So this is the blog. Uh, Here I put it in the chat as well, and I can show you as well for a while. In the meantime, so this is the blog I'm talking about. Yeah, here we have all the things: so agile estimation, story point estimation in planning poker, and estimation against hours and story points. Each point is elaborated with the help of video, and then the final point which we are discussing here, right, it is explained why not to equate with hours and what are the disadvantages associated with it. So it's pretty long thing, I know, and it's a little complicated topic. So I encourage you to, all of you, to check it out. That's sharing. Okay, so what would be onboarding plan for new member in the Agile project? Now, my question would be, would it be different than any project? Agile or non-agile, the onboarding seems to be onboarding. So what is onboarding? I need to understand how people operate here. I need to create the connection between the new guy and the old people. Be it a waterfall project or agile project, I need to make sure the person develops some human relationship with people. Be it a waterfall or agile project, I need to make sure the person starts understanding their overall roles and accountability. In a waterfallish manner, maybe it is driven by communicating. In the agile manner, maybe it is driven by the team communicating, but ultimately, by some way, they should get it. Yeah. So, how we work and who are we? And once we understand that, what are we working on? So I would say that you can focus on three dimensions: people, process, and product. And whenever new guy is joining in, I need to educate the guy into these three domains. Our Fortunately, the PMI also talks about these three domains: people, process, and the product. They call it business. Yeah, so that's also a thing: business. What business we are in. So I need to come up with a process depending upon what kind of criticality. It's a onboarding, virtual person, face-to-face guy. It depends upon various things. But I need to think, how do I create a people relationship? How do I make the person comfortable? How do I introduce with the people whom this person has to work? So that part I have to take care. The process, the essential process which I have to start with. And the business and the domain, what they should know about our client, what they should know about our development a product. So we should have some amount of strategies there. Rest, it follows. Yeah, that's the three area which I can think of, and then we can have a clear understanding of an assessment of what the person knows and what they want to know over a period of time. Okay, so what is a career path for Scrum Master? My company does not have a career path for Scrum Master yet, but they may want career path for Scrum Master to be engineering manager. What do you think? So we spent some time thinking about it. We wrote a blog about it, but in general, what I believe is it varies from organization to organization, and it also varies from the individual skill, because Scrum Master is a leadership position. The type of leadership thing you exhibit, you see what I want to grow further. If you get too much into agile education, agile communication, agile coaching, and you think that I need to teach and mentor people on agile, then the Scrum Masters try to grow as a mentor and enabler rather than delivery guy. I can say, I don't want to help people deliver things. I want to just enable them because that's what I like. Those kind of people usually get into coaching space, coaching, process consulting, that space. I want to just enable. There are people who believe, no, I want to facilitate delivery. I am facilitating delivery as a leader for 10 people, 7 people. I want to grow my skills so that I can help my organization by way of contributing to facilitating delivery for 100 people. Yeah. So maybe I facilitate, I mentor other Scrum Master to facilitate delivery, as well as I may own up multiple teams delivery along with my Scrum Master. So maybe a Scrum Masters of multiple teams, or a Scrum Masters of Scrum Master. You may call them engineering manager could be a designation, but what the person does, role matters. So if I have a role, I ensure that I ensure the delivery of multiple Scrum teams. I am now leading the group of agile teams rather than leading one agile team. So that's a good contribution to the organization, because your skills are growing. So you want to make sure the organization makes more out of your skills. So that's a good growth path. Some people who are working in this space and they are working in the hybrid environment, they may say, okay, I want to do a leadership. I want to focus on delivery. That's a great thing. And I can do this leadership with agile, with Kanban, with project management, with anything, with hybrid. Those kind of people may grow in a project management direction. So they may become PMP certified. They may focus on learning various hybrid approaches to the delivery, and that's how they contribute to the organization and grow. Yeah, so that's the something is there. Yeah. Yeah, so you can say currently we have a Scrum Master takes care of 2 teams. The engineering manager will be a manager of Scrum Master. So I would say it's the leader of the Scrum Master. Yeah, so someone, the Scrum Master also has to go to. So when you get stuck, when you have a problems, when things cannot be handled at your level, you go to someone. So you have a leader who is a leader of Scrum Master, who is a Scrum Master of Scrum Masters, and that you become. It may be called engineering manager or something else, but the job is same. You have been leading few teams, now you are leading the leaders. Yeah, and so that they can lead better and produce more value to the organization. So yeah, there is a blog again, yeah, on this topic, where we pick up say scaled agile path with the help of release train engineer, agile coaching path with the help of agile coaches, and then the project management path, which is more prominent in the service based organization where they are doing work for others rather than themselves. Yeah. So it depends, but all these paths are there, and I think it should match with your competency and skill. That will be a useful idea. Okay. So I see the match is about to start, and many of you might be busy there, I know. But if we have some more, we'll resolve, else we close because the 7:30 is approaching. And yes, yeah. So what do you think about a relationship between product owner and AI? Again, it could be a thinking only, but I think it depends upon the area of work. So for me, uh, uh, I use ChatGPT quite well myself. So with that limited experience, I can say that it can be used as a tool to organize the thoughts, to get the things a little faster pace, but it cannot give the original idea. So say if I have to communicate something, I may create raw data, but I want to write it well. Yeah, so I can say, okay, can you make a user story out of it which is written well? So maybe a chat gpt does that for me, but after that I need to validate. Yeah, and many times that chat gpt may add additional thing, but there is a highly likelihood it may clarify. Yeah, I may say make the acceptance criteria smart. Yeah, so the chat gpt try to make it smart, then I can see are they really smart enough, or they are taking or pointing to somewhere else. So I think it can reduce my typing work, it can make my communication a little better. But if I hope the chat gpt will write a user story for me from zero, then I might be in a mess. Yeah, because the very random things will come. Even if I rely that even I give a user story and chat gpt will write an acceptance criteria for me, still it is a risky thing because it may add any acceptance criteria to it. So I think it can be used as an assistant to write things. So rather than I dictate to someone and the person who is my assistant make it a nice letter out of it. That's a great use. And that can reduce my time because now I just have to think, but I can't outsource my thinking. I can outsource my presentation and communication. I had a conversation with one of the guy. He says, it's very difficult to write a compelling thing. So what I do, I write what I want to tell and I give to ChatGPT and says, make it more compelling. Make it in a 2-liners, make it in a 3-liners. Sometimes it does a good job, sometimes it creates a stupid job, but I can validate it. And sometimes it helps me because it gives me a fast 2-3 ideas of making short. And it's my idea. It's not a chat GPT idea. It's your idea. But it got packaged by it. It got like an assistant. So that way, that much I have seen using it. I have communicated people with who are using it, and I have done it for myself. And I think that's a good help in a way. It increases the productivity for many of us. Okay, so yeah. So we pause for a while, and if someone has a point, we take it. Else we close. Kumkum, you want to make something? Point? Yeah.
Yeah. So before closing the session, I just wanted to discuss one thing with you. So these days, when we are discussing, me and the sales team, so the one question people are asking again and again, and especially in the Scrum Master field, people are asking this thing. So I'm a working Scrum Master. Now there are two scenarios. The few people are asking, what could be the with the help of certification, how can I grow more? Okay, and what is the trending these days which can help me to boost my career? The other thing is people are asking, company organization is expecting the dual role. So how I can grow more in a dual role with the help of certification? So what could be the best answer for these kind of questions?
So I would say that we have been discussing for a while, and most of the organizations are looking for additional secondary role with the Scrum Master role. Some of them are hoping that Scrum Master will facilitate in business analysis. Maybe the decision-making product owner is separate, but facilitating good amount of product ownership and user story kind of work is a one way. In the service-based industries, the project management is coming as an attachment. In small and mid-sized organization where the development people are not skilled that level, many people expect the technological leadership also from the same guy, so he can be a team leader technology wise and a scrum master together. So I see that these three things are moving. So technical leadership, it is usually more prominent when you have a kind of a new team leader and doing the scrum master job as well. The business analysis, product management kind of expectation is coming for usually with the people who are having senior scrum masters. So it means that people who have been working as a facilitation role for a while, because the facilitation, stakeholder management, communicating people, compiling the information and presenting to others is something is a overlapping skills which is needed in a scrum master as well as a product owner. So many product business analysts or a scrum masters are getting into that direction, or a reverse wise, many business analysts and product owners are getting in a scrum master direction as well, and the project management is anyway there. So I think it depends upon my own competency. I need to figure it out where I fit well, because say the technology is also very demanding field. It's not like that you will learn something and do it very soon. Whatever you are learning, the other people might be doing it for last 10 years, and then you try to catch up with them. And even after you try to catch up with them, you may not be spending that much time. And they, even you can become an average developer, you can't become a leader of a developer. So we need to be very clear, because mostly what I see is when they expect technical, they expect leadership technical rather than just a contributor. So if you see just a contributor developer is needed, then you can do both the jobs. You can say I'm an average developer contributor and I'm an expert scrum master. Great thing to do if you see that opportunity that you can do. uh, People get into configuration management and these kind of things where they take care of some deployment and other stuff. So there is some technological support, the DevOps tools and all. Many of our Scrum Masters are doing AWS certification nowadays. So they can say, oh, I take care of some part of technology to make things ready, but I'm not a coder here, but I take care of some of the cloud platforms and all. And on the top of it, I take care of my Scrum Master job. I think that's a good idea. So if you can say some technical contribution, which doesn't require too much of investment on a regular basis, and competing with the people who have done the technology investment for a very long, if you have a competency or a aptitude towards that, one can go into cloud-based things. If you see, no, this is too much for me, then you can go into business analysis things like PMI PBA and the CSPO in the lighter version of it. Understand business analysis, start contributing to the product owner. We do see significant increase in PMI PBA queries as well in the recent time. So probably that's the reason people are moving towards that. And if you see, no, I'm handling multiple Scrum teams and I continue a project management space and delivery leadership space, then you have a PMP certification. But most of the project managers are also doing good amount of business analysis. Even PMI believes, and that's why they introduced PMI PBA, that project managers should know domain well. That's why they have a domain in the PMP exam, and they expect project managers should have a good competency of domain and contributing to some amount of business analysis. So even like 2015, 2014, when these guys launched PMI PBA and revamped it in a 2015, that time also the intent of PMI was the project management might not be enough. So even a project manager should have a business analysis kit. That was the whole story, because many people were doing that, sales presentation and all. So I believe project management, business analysis with Scrum, Kanban, and other stuff is a good combo. But if you have some technical skills, then maybe depending upon your competency or cloud-based things, you may want to take it. Yeah. So it has to be a little customized advice. One has to look into. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you very much. I think
Yeah.
we have one more question.
So I have a 16 plus years in IT. I already senior manager, prepped for PMP for growth, but seen that without certificate, also people are growing. So how can I claim better career growth in the same company after passing PMP? Definitely, if you grow without certification, continue growing. Certification does not guarantee a growth, and people can grow without certification also. So what am I doing? Am I waiting for my growth, or I'm investing in learning? That's the only difference. So the people who come to us for PMP certification, they want to do their bit, their effort for the growth. Now, the final growth will be dependent on various factors. Maybe company may promote them, or they have to go somewhere outside to get promoted, but they are getting ready from their side. So all these certification, be it a PMP or CSM or SAFE or anything, may not give you that, oh, I'm SAFE certified, give me a job. They clearly exhibits the person is trying to grow. Yeah. And the person should have other competencies also. So with the help of a particular certification, I package myself. I says, I want to learn, and I want to learn what the industry is doing, and I just don't want to limit to my organization. I want to understand how the different projects are getting managed, and then I want to be more ready for the future work. If you see that is needed, then you do. But if you get a very challenging opportunity in your own organization, and you say that if I keep proving myself by solving my organization problems, and if I invest that time and energy to solve my organization problem and grow with that, then you grow in that manner also. So you can say that beyond the job also, I have to do a lot of research and study to get my organization moving from A place to B place. And I am getting those opportunities here. So why should even I waste a single minute doing something else? Then I think you should not do any certification. You should focus on growing that particular organization. But many times the business moves, organization also faces various challenges. People who want to remain at a level where they are ready to go to any organization, majority of 70-80% people are to them that they need to invest in their growth themselves, and they don't get an opportunity to solve such a kind of a critical problem, or they lack competency to do that work. They go for such kind of education to do something. Yeah. There are good number of people who are just waiting for the organization to grow them. So that's also an option. One can stay there. The another thing is, I might be doing project management in my organization. PMP is not going to test you how do you do a project management in your company. No, they don't know about your company. They test you how generically project management is done. Now that also brings a reverse challenge on me. So when I learn PMP or a project management, I learn how generically project management is done in the industry. And that will be a new learning and probably a growth as well. So I'm not limited to my company experience. I know how the world works because I get these problems on my daily PMP classes where people are too bounded to think in their company format. Oh, I have never seen a business case. We don't make business case. Okay, in your project you don't make business case, but it doesn't mean the business case doesn't exist. So what is business case? Okay, here we come. Here the learning opens up. We don't do procurement. What is procurement? Okay, here the learning opens up. We always work in agile. We never look at a predictive life cycle. Great. Here it opens up because some project may require predictive life cycle as well. So that's the value of learning, especially for PMP. Okay, we wait for a few minutes and see if we have some more before we close, and then I talk about a little bit on the upcoming sessions. Okay, so there are some information for our YouTube as well as LinkedIn followers. Okay, there is another question. So we can say after completing PMP course, feels that only 40% forces are used, and I can't see the area to implement S6. So it depends when you studied PMP. Yeah, if you have studied PMP in a recent time, then I don't think so. But yes, that's the opportunity. The 60% might be used, and you have a learning opportunity when you integrate things. See, software is not always a code. Nowadays, the car may host good amount of code more than your Facebook or Twitter. So the software, hardware, mechanical, these integrations and the complexity of these integrations are growing. So if I get an opportunity where my software fits into something else, and that something else is using different processes, and I am clueless about it, then I lose opportunity to work there. But if I say, no, I will always work on the website, and my website will work in this particular way, then definitely those processes may become little less fruitful for you. But even in that case, you might be making a website for a product which is developed in the different way of working. But yeah, one can decide their current use and future use. And in PMP, 50% to 75% is agile processes now. Around 25% is a predictive lifecycle processes now. So for our software people, it is far easier. I'm talking about from last 2 years. I'm not sure if someone has done before. Yes, the content of predictive lifecycle is more, but it is just around 25 to 30% about it. Yeah. So they have a 3 domain: people domain 42%, process domain 50%, and the business domain 8%. So business domain and people domain put together 50%. It doesn't match. It doesn't relate to any life cycle. It's generally talking about people and business. Then we have process domain, which is more rooted in the life cycle. So that way, it's pretty nice content. It depends upon where you learn and how you learn. But I don't think in the last 2 years, especially for software guy, you will find 60% things out of track. Yeah. Not in exam, maybe learning, maybe. Yeah, not in exam. Okay, I'm a Safe Scrum Master certification, and I am working as a Scrum Master for 4 to 5 years for my growth. In what path I can move into. I am confused whether I should move into the role of RTE or a product management. So first, what you think your organization can trust you on, yeah, which means where there is a highly likelihood of you selling your competency to do the job well. If you can sell the idea, so that's the first thing. If you say that I'm a great facilitator and I can facilitate 100 people job now, I'm a great impediment remover, I'm a great negotiator, I'm a great in handling stakeholders and getting favor and trust from them. I want to get things doing by way of working with people, and I am just facilitating, negotiating, conflict management, resolving problem, and people like me doing it, and they will be trusting me to do it for bigger thing. If you see your competencies are there and you can see that you can probably convince them, you can see the feedback, type of feedback you are getting. People, you end up doing facilitation of scrum meetings. even if it's not a part of your role. The release train engineer rely on you running the PI planning meeting most of the time, or you always active when people feel that you take care of that thing well. You are doing good. You may be growing in that direction as a release train engineer because that's your natural competency, and you will get opportunity also faster. If you see that when it comes to product, I have a greater insight. I clarify user stories like anything. I talk to the stakeholders. I help them in putting the business values. I am the one who facilitates writing the PI objectives all the time. And people appreciate my way of communicating and aligning with the features and the PI objectives. And even if I'm a scrum master, but I have a good rapport with the product owner and product management, and they see I have a good insight towards it. And many times they let me do user stories level work, or even putting my suggestion in the, I keep suggesting acceptance criteria to the features, and people appreciate that. It means I already have a space there and they are liking what I'm doing, and I go there. If you're doing both, then you take a call which one can make more money for you, because say targeting and getting opportunity has to be seen. So based on these two area, your own competency, you can find out what works good for you. Yeah. Okay, so a little bit about our upcoming events. So the good news is we are planning to do YouTube live every week. That's the thing. So every week Friday we will do a YouTube live. Yeah, it will start 1 hour before than our scheduled time today, which means in India it will be 6 p.m. in the outside wherever word you are, whatever our start time or whatever the time is right now, we'll start 2 hours before. That's what we'll do. Now, most of the Friday, other than the last Friday, we will be dedicating to more on a project related topics and project management. So what I will do, I will bring something around on PMP topics, but it could be generic as well because it's a generic project management. So we'll focus on learning project management from the classes or from the view of PMP certification in general, and we'll try to clarify the queries related to those topics. So it will be a little focused conversation. For such kind of open conversations, if we left with any, yeah, we will keep our last Friday. Right now we were doing 2 sessions in a month, open on. Now we will do 1 session in a month, which will be the last Friday of the month. So that's a change, but the continuation of our project management sessions will increase. So because we see a lot of need of educating based things rather than having Q&As, that can give a little focus, but we can also have some amount of Q&A once the focused conversation is over. So that's the plan. So we'll see. We'll keep this series separate. So we'll keep the 56, 57 as a part of thing, and we'll have a separate series and separate format, little bit for the PMP or project management education content. That's what we will do. We are just using PMP as a tool for learning project management, and we'll plan that way in the thing. So we'll see how things goes. It's a new experiment, and hopefully we should be able to contribute more. Time will tell.
That's great. I think time to say bye for now. And guys, you can post your queries on this email ID. It's sales@isenbridge.com. Whatever questions you have, whatever follow-up questions you have, just don't hesitate to post your queries. We'll definitely answer all your queries. And yeah, I'll be back on the last Friday of June. And yeah, let's start our PMP sessions. And yeah, I'm sure the way you're adding value here, you'll add value there also. So take care of yourself. Enjoy IPL. Bye for now.